me talking. And so I'm going to use a lacrosse ball, but again, you can use a can of soup. You can use a water bottle. This is my hard water bottle, so it would also work. I'll just mimic it for a second, but then I'm going to go to a lacrosse ball just on the foot. Especially if I rotate in a little bit, I can work the arches of the foot, and I'm going to have my toes up, and I'm just going to roll forward and back. Now I'm on tile, so that would slide here, but again, I'm going to use my lacrosse ball here. It's nice and easy, toes up. Now, just out of curiosity, do you happen to have like a watch that you track steps or no?
No, I don't.
That's okay. Um, I'm assuming you're walking a decent amount, especially the last year because you've been in Europe.
Yeah, yeah.
And how is your foot doing? I know you had some. What was it? A year and a half ago, you broke a bone in your foot, or was it a bad sprain?
Yeah, it like the ligament pulled off a bit of bone. Um, but it's been doing pretty well. Like it's been okay for running and stuff.
Okay, good, good. So it's always nice to revisit and doing some gentle foot stuff. So half of it is just rolling out the foot and calves today, and then a couple other foot sort of exercises and toe stretches. So we're going to switch over to the other side. Again, the reason I like the toes up is your plantar fascia, which is right at the bottom, is going to be in a more stretched position. If my toes are down, then it's a lot more relaxed. So it's easier on, like, it won't be as painful, but I find with toes up, it's creating more tension in that plantar fascia. So then you can really get at where the tension is in that arch of the foot. Is the soup can actually working?
Yeah, so it's making a bit of noise, so I don't know if that's
The
something
soup,
to.
the soup can or your foot? You'll probably be fine. I feel a slight difference left to right side. My right foot, I'm missing a ligament in the ankle, and so my foot compensates just a smidgen, and so that plantar fascia is always just a little bit more tight because the whole right side's tight. You might notice those differences. And the good news is, again, with your foot, is you can push hard into the foot as hard as you want or as easy as you want. So especially working around kind of the heel of that foot and inner arch of that foot for me is like a big area of tension. So now we're actually going to get to the ground, and I'll demo it with the water bottle so you can kind of see what I'm doing. It will almost mimic potentially a foam roller. But if you, again, happen to have something like this, I can have this just right underneath the soleus. I know you know where the soleus is for those who don't know. You have your gastroc, it's the meaty part of the calf. The soleus is kind of mid shin down, and it's right underneath the Achilles. And so I'm going to be on that area, and all I'm going to do is push into the whatever I'm rolling with, back and forth, nice and easy, up and down around the Achilles and the muscles underneath that Achilles. My butt's actually off the ground, and I'm actively taking my leg and pushing and driving into this to put more tension into it because I can handle that. If you can't handle that, you can have your butt dragging on the ground more and actually use your hip flexor and hip muscles to take tension off as you still roll. So that's the nice thing, is you can kind of self-regulate how much tension you need. If you're using that, if you're using a lacrosse ball, I can actually really get in that area, and I find that this one's gnarly up and down the Achilles. Does that feel okay for you?
Yep.
Good. And then again, depending on how much intensity you need, you can adjust accordingly. You can also um, rotate your foot out a little bit, and you're going to get a little bit more, um, and you can really rotate it out. With lacrosse ball, it's harder. You kind of have to know where it's going to go, but you're going to get more of the outer muscles of that shin. There's a lot of little tiny muscles around there, especially for me. The muscle that's responsible for eversion of the ankle, that one's extra tight for me. Um, I feel that. So I feel like a really spicy knot here. Sometimes in that area, you can actually do an ankle roll while pushing down into that area as well and get a little bit extra tender love and care on that general vicinity. Do you feel any kind of, ooh, that's a hot spot or not so much?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I don't know how often you do foam rolling or soft tissue work, but I'm assuming if you don't have a foam roll, probably not that often.
Okay.
Balance is I mean you don't need to talk if you don't want to about life because this will get recorded, but everything good up in the other side of the world?
It's been good. How have your travels been?
Not too bad, not too bad. I'm just gonna switch to the other side. Um, it's different than last time. Have you ever heard the saying, um, "No man goes into the same river twice, for he is a different man and it's a different river"?
No.
Oh well, that's how I feel.
Okay.
Being here compared to 2 years ago is different. Valentino's back home, so I'm not hanging out with my brother, and that was
Mhm.
one of the reasons I picked the spot. I'm still making the most out of it, but here's how messed up inflation is. Um, Last time I was here, 700 pesos was a Canadian dollar. Now 1,000 pesos is a Canadian dollar.
Oh.
So you can get more technically, but everything basically doubled in price. So it actually is like 25, 30, 40% more expensive than last time. But last time everything was like way cheaper than Canada. Now it's pretty comparable. So it's almost like the same price as Canada, but it's just that how crazy how quickly things have changed here. Again, I'm gonna rotate my foot out a little bit. I'm still enjoying it, but because of that, I'm just being a little bit more mindful of like going out to eat for dinner because that's like a big component of travel when you're traveling how I travel in the medium term, where you want to go out and experience things. You guys actually living in a different country, you probably don't go out to eat a crazy amount because you're just living there, correct?
Yeah, except for when we have visitors, because then they want to try all the different types of food. So,
And
yeah.
that's been yeah, and that's fair. Um, and I'm sure Ireland food isn't that much different than what you're used to versus South America. It's a little different than what I would normally get. So I'm just being strategic about it.
Are you staying in the same places as last time?
Same general spot, yeah. I've done exploring in some different areas, but I know the area half decent. Again, I'm really rotating out and I'm going to rotate through my ankle now. Um, but it is nice. There's a lot of parks around here, lots of nature for a big city, like big parks. And it doesn't feel like a massive city. It doesn't feel too crowded. Like Toronto's just built tall. This is built wide, is what I would say. There's lots of cool architecture. Um, but in a week, I'm going to be in Peru. So I'm looking forward to the Peru trip because that's going to be a lot more novel, a lot more new. Um, and I'm going to be backpacking around Peru versus here. I'm just staying in one spot for the month. So it's like a month I knew was going to be long to stay in one spot, but it's a lot more inexpensive too to kind of stay in one spot. Okay, so you can put the whatever you're rolling off to the side. We're gonna do the combat stretch. You probably remember this one. If I'm on one shin, I'm gonna have my other foot, which is gonna be I'm going to open up here at a 45-degree angle, and I'm going to lean forward, and my weight is on my thigh, driving my knee past my toes, getting a nice, I don't know how easy you can see with the lighting, but you're getting a nice angle at the ankle and at the knee, assuming your knee can go that much forward. From this position, I'm actually getting a good stretch kind of through the soleus, which is back here. If I push my toes into the ground, I'll actually feel the bottom of the foot active into that shin, or sorry, behind the calf. And then if I lift the toes up and lift the foot up without actually lifting it up, like you can't see it move up, but I'm trying to lift it up. I'll activate the front of the shin, and when I activate the front of the shin, my calf has to stretch. And then when I'm able to push down into the bottom of the foot, I'm getting good activation into that bottom of the foot. So I'm just toggling back and forth, 5 seconds pushing down, and then 5 seconds trying to pull up. Um, but yeah, no, it's been nice to also just kind of get away and focus on other things too. Um, and I had a good weekend. The market was a lot of fun to go to this past weekend. So yeah, and I also have a nice tan, so I can't complain about that. What's the weather like in Ireland? Is it um, rainy still? Rainy season? I'm switching to the other side.
We had a good 2 months of rain, and it was like very, very, very abnormally rainy. And then today was sunny at least, so it was like beautiful, and you could feel the sun for the first time in a long time. So days
Nice.
are getting longer.
Um, where I'm going next is Cusco to start, and it's apparently still super rainy season. Um, I don't know. I'm gonna be at least 2 nights there, but then I might decide to go else somewhere else if it's gonna be really, really rainy for the next little bit. You just never know. I'm gonna talk to the locals, but how warm is it getting there?
Here, I don't know. I feel like it was around 7 for ages, and now it's probably up to like 12, 13.
Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah, be nice. Like there are daffodils blooming and everything.
Oh, so it feels like an early spring then for you guys.
Yeah.
Nice. Is St. Patty's Day gonna be a big big thing for you guys?
I mean, it always is. I think we might do like a small town thing though. They're
Okay.
like tiny parades with tractors and stuff, so I think that'll be fun.
Nice. Give me 1 sec. I'm just gonna get a pillow for my knees for the next one. I got two more main ones for us. Um, and then I'll decide if I want to do an extra one. Here is I'm getting my toes underneath me here. I'm gonna bring the camera maybe a smidgen closer. So toes underneath, and I'm just sitting back into this position. That you should actually get a nice stretch in the bottom of the feet. Do you feel that stretch?
Yep.
Okay, similar to before, I'm imagining that I'm lifting the toes up and the shins up in this position. So I'm going to get a little bit of tension kind of through the tops of the foot, through the tendon, and through that shin. And I actually might feel a little bit more of a stretch into the bottom of that foot there. Do you feel the difference if you just hang out here versus if you're actively trying to pull up?
Hmm.
Good. Now I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to push the toes into the ground, trying to almost do kind of like that with the toes, but they're stuck in this position. So again, you'll feel the tendons all in the bottom of the foot kind of start to turn on. And again, I'm just toggling back and forth, 5 seconds one way and then 5 seconds the other way. So that's one of the things about mobility is when you're in these positions, you want to kind of tense up the muscles in both directions. And that's a good way to kind of get that end range conditioning. If you find that that's a little bit much, you just come out of it. You can sit in this recovery position for a little bit and then come out of it, which I just needed to do there for a second. But I find it really important to have that toe mobility, to have the toes be able to bend at that position. Not a lot of people can do that anymore. Getting old. Obviously, with you, with your foot, it might be a lot being in that position for that long. So sometimes it's also coming out of it this way and then just slowly sitting back into it, coming up, and then just slowly sitting back into it. All of that is fine as well. But yeah, that's a nice one for the toes. Now we're gonna get into this position where I'm sitting on the tops of my foot, and my ankle is flat, again, just like before, I'm going to drive my toenails into the ground, kind of as if these are my toes, push them into the ground. You'll feel the front of that shin kind of light up in that position. Then I'm going to try to I call it the foot fist, where I'm pulling my toes up and I got a little cramp there. So now I actually recover by getting into that other position. Again, sitting onto my shin, sitting on my heels, toe fist, toe fist, toe fist. Doesn't feel as crampy that time, and then driving the toes into the ground the other way to activate the opposites. Again, just kind of going back and forth. The nice thing about what I do is I teach people stuff like this. I get into these positions semi regularly, and then because I have these classes, at least obviously I was doing some stuff in person and then now online, keeps me accountable to at least doing some stuff once a week. But I've been taking so many steps. Today was my my easiest day of the last 3 days, and it's still like almost 14,000 steps. I think 2 days ago I was at 22, and yesterday I was at 20. So it's just lots of walking, right? So trying to keep up the steps too for the challenge. Got to challenge my peeps. So again, just kind of
Yeah.
toggling back and forth. There'll be another challenge for walking in May, and um, a food challenge, I think, in July. So if you want to nudge your parents to some other walking challenges, by all means, or you can send them these little links too. That's also something easy that they might be able to do. But your parents are okay? I know. Yeah,
Yeah, they're
they're okay.
mhm,
Good, good, good. You can tell them I say hi.
for sure.
Good, good. Okay, I'm gonna give us one more, and this is just a nice calf stretch, and then I got to get ready for um, my next clientele. So this is a one of my favorites from a calf stretch standpoint. I have my heel onto the ground, and I'm going to focus on getting a stretch in that back Achilles and back calf. And I'm just going to keep pushing my hips forward. If I let the heel come off, I'm not going to get the stretch. So I keep the heel down, and then I just push the hips forward, push the hips forward, push the hips forward, and I'm getting a nice stretch in the Achilles. Similar to before, if I activate the front of my shin by lifting up my toes and foot, even though I'm not lifting in that position, I'll get actually a little bit deeper. And then if I just need to come out of it, I just come out like that. But you should have a nice stretch. This one's a bit more for the gastrocs, that big meteor calf muscle. Do you feel that one? Good. And then just kind of come out. We'll do that one more time on this side. Hold it, hold it, hold it, out. And then we'll switch on to that other side. Push the hips forward. Ooh, this side's tighter on me for sure. Ah, I feel that. And then just come out. If I push the hips forward, it feels so much more. I didn't realize this side's tight. I don't even know if you can tell on camera how much tighter this side is on me. I can't go nearly as far. Do you have a tighter side or not really?
I think so.
Okay. Is it the foot side that's tight or the non?
Yeah, the same.
Yeah. For me, I don't know why the side would be tighter. I would have imagined the other side. Geez, I'm gonna do an extra rep on this side. Just that much. Wow. One more. One more. Push, push those hips. Ah, ah. 5, 4, 3, 2, and relax. I'll actually do a little test here for the next minute. Just the bottoms of your feet. You should feel like everything's opened up. When you walk, you want to have that bounce in that step, pep in the steps, being able to be on the balls of your foot. I don't know if your foot just feels a little bit more open. You can play with different positions, whether you're, again, kind of up on your toes, up onto your tippy toes, thinking about pushing the toes into the ground just from this position too. I didn't cover going over the arches too much. I'll probably go over that stuff more maybe. I want to do a walking mechanic one next week. I think that's what my plan's going to be. So yeah, but I do got to get ready for my next person. I appreciate you coming on, and I'm going to be doing these weekly. I know it's late for you, so hopefully that feels like a nice stretch. And we'll have to do some online games soon because I'm definitely craving one of those nights if
Yeah,
that
Jean was saying we should do that again soon too, so that'd be fun.
and we'll do it where it's like not crazy late for you guys maybe because I get it when it's late. So
Yeah, we can manage though.
I know, but I'm a party pooper. I get tired early. So all right, I will see you